What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Watch Darius TV. I am back with another review, and this one is of You, Season 4, Episode 5, The Fox and the Hound. If you like this video or anything that has to do with the TV show You, like, comment, subscribe, and share this video for all things You. Now, let's start with this review of this episode, okay? So the episode starts where the last one left off, where Joe is walking in on Kate after she is seen with Gemma's dead body. Kate claims that she didn't do it, and she pretty much sort of like lightly blackmails Joe into helping her hide the body because she definitely doesn't want to get help from her father's security guard that should be stuck dealing with him and all this other drama, as we can see from her telling her history about her dad to Joe and stuff like that. So, anyway, Joe and Kate stash Gemma's body. Then Lady Phoebe walks in and she's talking about Adam being basically in the closet and all this other stuff like that. And Kate ends up, basically lies and tells her that her and Joe are about to, do a little bit of shagging. And she ends up deciding to get her cue and leaves up out of here so they can finish stashing this girl's body. So Joe thinks of plan to get Jim's body out of there by basically sort of tossing it out of the window, kind of what he had to go through with Rold pushing him out of the window. So they toss her body out the window, falls in the bushes, so nobody finds it. Then they end up deciding to hide her body someplace else. I believe Joe sort of disposed of her in a certain kind of way with, if you know what I mean, like taking her in different places or something like that. I'm not sure how he did it, but I'm pretty sure he probably got some sharp objects and I don't know, but it sort of hint that he was able to find some way to put her someplace. So Kate ends up grabbing a knife and questions Joe about why he's so good at being able to hide bodies and stuff like that. We already know Joe's history, but she doesn't know. And let's see when she finally. Instead of basically running away from Joe, she tries to question him. She's still trying to figure this out, even though any other person would have thought that was crazy, would have ran off. She decides to want to question him. She's intrigued by him, want to know more about Joe and all this other stuff. Joe suggests someone is trying to frame Kate. He tells her someone tried to frame him, and he tells her about his past with love, and finally even brings up his son. First time I believe he brought him up this season, and he also talks about how basically Malcolm he was framed with Malcolm's body and told him everything that's happened this season. So now she finally knows more about Joe. So there's that. So Lady Phoebe confronts Adam about his alternative lifestyle, and she tells him that she found out about it from Joe. So that kind of makes some weird tension going on there. And she decides to sort of play along and gives him sort of like I don't know what to really say. There's some sort of I'll call it like some type of R. Kelly treatment going on where she basically was going to relieve herself on him basically, and he's not into it. He's completely grossed out by it. He doesn't want it. He's not really into it. He's sort of into doing the whole you know it, relieving himself on peeing with somebody basically. That's what he's doing. That's what he's into. He's into doing that, and they both basically realize that this isn't the type of kink that they're really into doing. And Lady Phoebe sees that it's just not meant to be, and she sort of just breaks up with Adam. So there's that. And I pretty much don't care about that relationship to be honest with you, but it's a part of the show. So but anyway, Kate realizes she dropped her bracelet while they were hiding Gemma's body, and Joe goes to go back to the body so he can find her bracelet. Lady Phoebe spots the bloody rug when Kate walks in, so there's a sort of an oh crap moment there. Joe has made a new enemy with Adam after, his goes through a sad breakup, and it seems like him and Roll decides to team up together to sort of deal with Joe. So there's that. Lady Phoebe sees that Kate isn't the killer, and she's totally high anyway, so I don't think she can really even understand what's going on. But they talking about this whole situation. Lady Phoebe and Kate, they're just talking about this whole situation anyway. And Rold overhears the conversation, and he ends up finding Joe, and he tells everybody that Joe is the Eat the Rich killer. After having him at gunpoint. So Rold pins everything on Joe. Rold says his uncle's a judge and he can let him get away with murder if he was to basically take out Joe. And Rold aims gun at Joe and he wants him to play a game basically. After trying to convince all the rich people snobs there that Joe is the eat the rich killer, Rold decides to play a game where he wants to have Joe run off and he's going to basically shoot Joe, sort of like he wants to hunt Joe. And Joe tries to get help from Adam, and Adam basically sort of turns into Will Smith and tells him to keep Phoebe's name out of his mouth. And they end up getting into a fight, and Joe pretty much knocks out Adam and gets up out of here and runs because Road got the gun aimed at him. Road chases Joe into forest, and the others tell Kate about what happened, and Kate ends up sending her guards after Rold. Now, I don't know exactly what happened to the guards. It seemed like they kind of just disappear after this. We don't know what happened. They just vanish, but okay. Joe ends up knocking out Rold. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And then Reese comes out of nowhere, and he grabs the gun and knocks Joe out. So for me, I already had a feeling that Reese was going to be the eat the rich killer. I just kind of had this is not really a shock to me. I kind of already had suspected it because Joe was able to really relate to this guy. So it was like a weird type of like these two are sort of like what was the term I'm looking for? They're like two sides of the same coin type of thing going on here. So I'm not really too surprised that Reese ends up being the eat the rich killer. I kind of already saw that coming. I wish it could have made it somebody that I would not have expected, but I kind of already saw this coming. But anyway, Joe wakes up in like some type of dungeon and he's chained up to Rold. He's chained up along with Rold. And Reese says that he had to save Joe because basically he didn't want Joe to die. And Reese wants to plant all the murders on Rold. And Reese is amazed by Joe. He wants Joe to kill Rold. And, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right because I really don't know. I'd never heard of a name like Rold before. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway. Joe decides to pretend that he's basically into whatever Reese is into because he's planning on trying to kill Reese basically. But he ends up keeping him chained up. He definitely knows that Reese knows he can't trust Joe just yet, so he keeps him chained up. Reese ends up finding out that Joe isn't really on his side, and he kicks over Lantern and he leaves. He was going to leave them to both burn to death. Joe is able to get out of his chains, and he reluctantly goes to save Rold. Kate ends up saving both of them, but then the mansion or this big castle that they were playing this game in ends up burning up in flames. Joe is able to clear his name with all the rich snobby people, and Kate brings Joe Malcolm's old sort of new clothes or whatever like that, since all his stuff got burnt up. And Kate asks Joe out, but he rejects her because of his past. He just doesn't want to really open himself up to her like that. She storms off. Joe goes back into his house and he sees on TV that Reese, as he's talking about the killer, wanting to stop the killer, even though the killer is him, of course. And he, talks about wanting to be the mayor of London. So that would just pretty much give him more of a position of power to, I guess, attack the rich or whatever like that, or be able to still continue his serial killing, I guess. I don't really have many theories as to what's going to happen in the next episode. It's going to be a lot more harder for Joe to take this guy out because this guy is in a position of political power in a whole nother country. So I don't know really what Joe's going to do with this guy. Yeah, I really do not have any plans. I know by the time anybody sees this, I know the season is already over now. I'm super late, but for me personally, I don't know what to really suspect for the next few episodes, but this was a pretty interesting one. I'm happy that they're finally going back to, you know, London and, not in that whole whodunit big castle storyline. I'm happy that's kind of over with now, but this is going to be an interesting antagonist, this guy Reese. He's going to be in a position of power running for mayor of London, so I'm really curious to see how this is going to go. I don't have any real predictions yet, but this is going to be really interesting to see how this turns out, though. It was a really phenomenal episode, I would say. But unfortunately, I cannot think of any theories of what I think this is going to go. But like I said, Reese, phenomenal villain. I'm really intrigued by to see what he has planned for the second half of this season of You. And yeah, this is pretty dope. So if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, share the video for all things You, and thank you for watching my video.